Hi everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. I'm Amma Mama. I am going to just do a very quick update of where I'm at this week with reading. If you watched my January TBR video, you'll know that much of what I have on my TBR for January is like scary, horror, thriller, like I don't know, just very intense kind of books. And there were a few that I was a little bit nervous about reading, just because sometimes that stuff, now that I'm older, for whatever reason, it ramps up my anxiety. And so I thought the best way to do that was to start with the short stories to get them done, partly because short stories are not usually my go-to for reading. I prefer longer, novels and stuff like that. I don't mind I like good short stories, but again, they're just not something I tend to pick up and read on a regular basis. And so two of the books that I have were short story collections, one by Stephen King, which I love Stephen King. And then the other one was like true life ghost stories, which I was a little bit nervous about because I'd mentioned in my other video that, I don't know, I'm just kind of a chicken now in my older age, I guess. And then the last book that I'm working on right now, actually not the last book, but I'm also reading the final book in Stephen King's Dark Tower series. And so I'm actually reading those three books at the same time, a little bit every day. In addition, I'm still reading one book a day or story a day from the Edgar Allan Poe book. And then I'm also listening to the audiobook of Dragonfly in Amber, the second book in the Outlander series. So I had actually started that because I'd seen part of the show first, and then I realized they were books. And so I've been listening to those on Audible. As for Stephen King, again, this is a very thick book. I'm actually almost done. I'm on page 715. I was hoping I might be able to finish it before today's video, but it got kind of late last night, and so I just thought there's no way I'm going to finish the last 100 or so pages. But Roland and his gang, I guess I'll call him, but his crew that he's been traveling with, this is just the final segment of their adventure. And again, I don't want to really say anything about this book because it would spoil the whole series. So, but I'm really enjoying it. This is probably my maybe my third favorite out of the whole series, with my favorites being Susanna's Song, and then I also liked The Gunslinger, which was the first one. I've liked all of them, but there were a couple that they were just a little, too off. I don't know, they were good for background information for the books, but they weren't my favorite in the series, but I'm really liking this one. Then I started reading Skeleton Crew by Stephen King. This is a collection of short stories. I'm enjoying it, but I did find on Spotify the audio version of this, and it's been helping me to listen to them because I had been reading, the first story in this book is The Mist, and I don't know why, but for some reason it was stressing me out, and I'd never read the short story, but I'd seen the movie, which is always kind of a bad thing with Stephen King because sometimes, the movies, they've got to make them into a movie, and so they're not always the same as what the stories or the books are. And so the book was actually less stressful than what the movie was in a lot of ways, but I think because I had the movie in mind, I kept putting it down because I just kept getting stressed, and so I'd put it down. So it's actually been helpful to have the audio book because I've been able to listen while I'm doing things, and it's been helping me not be as anxious about the stories and the things that are going on with them. Some of them have been like super short, you know, just like 2 or 3 pages. Some of them have been longer where, you know, like the audio recording even sped up to listen to it is over an hour. So I'm on page 117, I think. No, I'm a lot far, not 117. I'm on page 227. I'm a lot farther along in this than I realized, but it's still a good, you know, good sized book. There's like 500 some pages. So I am enjoying it. Again, not my favorite just because I'm not a huge fan of short stories, but I do love Stephen King. So I would so far recommend this, but I'm still reading it. So nothing that I have this week is finished. So I'm not going to really rate anything completely yet. Then I have Haunted Heartland, and these are true ghost stories from the American Midwest. What I'm finding is that I was worried this was going to be the book that was going to freak me out of everything I'm reading, and it's not at all. The way it's written is just very like matter-of-fact tellings of ghost stories from the Midwest. And so you know, there's a story in here about I don't remember the time frame or anything like that, but there was a story about a couple that moved in, or they wanted to move into this particular house, but the house was said to be haunted, and the person who owned it was like, nobody ever stays the night. They never make it. But if you do make it through the night, I'll give you the house and I'll give you, you know, a cow. Like he'll let him work for them and stuff like that. So they end up staying the night, and there is a ghost, but the ghost is trying to help them and says, hey, if you go and dig up, or not dig up, but if you go and find my body and my wife's body in this cave that I tell you and bring it back and bury it, I'll also show you where there's gold buried. And so they do, and they end up getting the house, they find the bodies, they bury them, and they get all this money. And so it ended up being lucky. So some of the stories have, you know, that kind of thing where they have that feel of it. I don't know, they're not scary. They're just very like matter-of-fact tellings of ghost stories that go around different parts of the Midwest. And like the one I just finished reading was about La Llorona, and how, you know, she's looking for her children that she murdered. And so it's the story of that, and how the father of the children basically rejected her, and so she killed her 2 children, and then she wanders around looking for her children. So I thought this was going to really scare me. It's not. Some of the stories are kind of like, I mean, it's interesting. I don't know that I would have just picked this up to read it on my own normally, but again, it was one that my daughter had left here and it was on my shelf. And since I am trying to read through the books that I have without picking up too many new ones, which unless it's part of a series that I'm reading and I need to get it, I'm really trying to not buy any new books until I read through at least a majority of what I had on my shelves, because I have a lot of books that I have had and collected over the years that I haven't read. So I'll give updates. At one point I thought I might DNF this because I was kind of like, I don't really care about the stories that much, but it's not bad. And because the stories are short, you know, about the time, like if I'm on one that I'm kind of getting bored with, I'm already on to the next one. And so it's been fine. So I will continue reading this. So we'll see. The Stephen King Dark Tower one, I should be able to finish this week in the next couple of days. I think I'm going to start reading, Iron Flame next, just because I've been waiting to read that one since it came out in November, and I got it. And so I'll probably start that one next. Hopefully I'll have, you know, something completely read next week, but I just wanted to pop on and give a quick little update. You know, I've seen a lot of people are doing things like channel goals and plans for, you know, 2024. I have never been a huge person with doing like resolutions and goals for the year and stuff like that. I kind of just, I don't know, I just kind of go through and figure it out as I go along, I guess. But it did make me think, like, you know, what would be some goals that I would love to try to accomplish. Maybe I find that I don't set goals as often as what I would like to, because if I don't do them, then I feel like really guilty. So like if I put a goal in place, especially if I've written it down, even if it starts to become something that I realize is not really attainable for whatever reason, I find that like I have this need of like, I'm gonna do it. It's kind of like with the Haunted Heartland. When I first picked it up and started reading it, I was like, oh, I'm not really liking these stories. I want to DNF it. But because it's on my list, I'm kind of like, I'm gonna finish reading it. And so I do that when I make goals too. And so maybe that's partly why I don't. But I think that if I was going to set some goals for my channel, if not for like my personal stuff, I really want to start trying to get better at editing. I'm sure the editing software right now, I'm just using CapCut. I have another one that I had been using through Microsoft, but I have to do that one on my computer, which has been being flaky. Whereas CapCut I can do on my phone. I've heard about a couple others that I can use on my iPad or iPhone, but I know there's some other features that I have no idea how to use. I just haven't really set aside time to figure them out. So that would be one thing. And then you know, I'd love to just continue to, you know, grow my channel, get more subscribers, things like that. I didn't go into this with the idea of like, I'm going to be, you know, a huge, you know, booktuber and have tons of subscribers and all of that. But I am doing it because I enjoy it. But, you know, at the same time, it would be nice to have, you know, more people subscribe to my channel and be able to do things where there's, you know, conversations and things like that. Like I think I had mentioned in my other video, I also am going to try out a book club in my area. I've seen some online ones as well from some other booktubers that maybe I would, you know, be interested in trying to do, but I'm still trying to, I don't know, I'm still trying to figure that out, because since I do homeschool and all of that, sometimes it's hard for me. It's not hard, but like just trying to balance everything and content and making sure I'm keeping up on what I'm trying to do. I'd also like to try to do some more, you know, challenges and things like that this year. I did a couple. I think I did 2 or 3 last year, and I only started my channel in August, so that's fine. But I like those kind of things. I like seeing them. But what's held me back really is like the editing piece of it, because I haven't sat down and really figured out the editing so that, you know, there's good transitions and that, you know, some background music. I've had a couple videos where I've had some of that, and, you know, one of them, even though I used the royalty-free music that was on CapCut, YouTube still flagged it, and then I had to like go back and edit. And so I'm still learning all of that. So I'm hoping that, you know, if my editing gets better and I start getting more proficient at that, then I can also, that'll open me up to do maybe some other content kind of things. You know, again, it can be tricky with kids and all of that. And I also like, you know, I also like just watching, you know, kind of chatty videos of people talking about their books and what they're reading and stuff like that. But the vlog style I do enjoy as well. And so we'll see what happens. But those are kind of some of the goals that I might have. I almost would love to put a number on like subscribers to say like, oh, my goal is to have 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. But I also don't know. I think about how I am and what I do. And I'm not one where I'm going to market myself very well, I guess, because I do tend to be kind of a quieter person. I'm very introverted. I can be an outrovert when I need an outrovert. I can be extroverted when I need to be, but my tendency is to be introverted. And so, you know, sharing with people, like even people that I know, I'm not like, hey, check out my YouTube channel, unless it's like my family or something. But otherwise I'm not, you know, I don't really advertise to people that I even have a channel. So we'll see. So I'm not going to put a number on it, but I would like to start to grow my channel some, and like I said, improve my content, improve my editing, things like that. But in the meantime, my biggest goal is to just continue to read and to have fun, and to read not only what I own now, but especially eventually, and what's been helpful for me is watching other booktubers and things like that. I'm learning about different, not that I'm learning about different genres, but there are a lot of things out there that I haven't read, because I've always tend to pigeonhole what I've read based on, like, I really like this particular author, so I'm going to read like everything I can by, these select writers, and I haven't been great at expanding that. So I've been reading a lot more diversely than what I normally do. So I want to just continue doing that as well. So I hope that you all had a wonderful start to your new year. And I would love, if anybody has any suggestions on, things that you would like to see me talk about, or if there are any, challenges or things that you would like to see on my channel in the future, let me know. Doesn't mean I can always get to them, but I would love to hear them. Or if you have any tips or thoughts on, goal setting that, for somebody who, like I said, has a tendency to not write them down, because I get very hung up on I set this and I set it, and so I'm not going to change it. So I don't want to be too hung up on that. I hope you all have a great week, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.